Millwood's kids developed an identity. It wasn't a melting pot. It was a hodgepodge of cultures and kids of different cultural backgrounds coming in together, mostly the children of recent immigrants. The identity of Millwoods is growing in a multicultural community, but that from the child's perspective, I think not necessarily being seamless, because that's not the way I'd experienced it. There was a lot of racial tensions in school or cultural tensions in school over time. And a lot of trying to figure out who you were. People would say, you know, they thought I was an anomaly because I didn't just hang out with the brown people. And sometimes people would try to figure out what that was, you know, who is she? Is she half white? You know, where does she fit in? So I always felt that too. I wasn't quite sure sometimes. So I grew up comfortable being around people of all different sort of colors, ethnicities, religions, because that was your reality just growing up. There was two sides to Millwoods. There were a lot of, I think, people who were very successful living through Millwoods, had a great time, had a good education, and that led to really great things for them. But then there was a side that seemed to fall through the cracks, especially I'd say sort of these disaffected young men who were the ones fighting and were the ones who ended up in gangs and ended up not finding their way out of here, kind of literally in some ways. But I always remember it being a safe place too, like thinking about being kids and walking around. I don't remember feeling like you're ever in danger, but there was always, you know, there's always little fights going on and a whole subculture, I think, of youth going on, like this youth subculture thing going on. The sense sometimes I got in Millwoods with some of those fights was that it was racial tensions boiling over sometimes. It was like, okay, so somebody called me a Paki and then we're gonna get a carload of people and go beat them up or something. And then sometimes it was just, I think, young men just fighting for the sake of the things that young men fight about, I think. Sometimes it's connected to those things like, I think, the tensions of living in a multicultural neighborhood. And sometimes I think it was just unrelated to those things. But there was a subtext of sort of, maybe not fully gang, but affiliation sometimes according to some of these racial lines.